Abby from the Elsie Bates Museum. Welcome to today's Nature Nuggets. We are going to be talking about insects today. We'll do, just like with reptiles, a series of videos. And just like with reptiles, I'm going to start off by talking about what makes an insect an insect. What are the characteristics that insects share that other bugs don't? So for example, all of these in the picture are insects, and all of these are not, even though they are commonly confused. So we'll talk about why these are insects, or why these are not insects and the others were. So first things first, all insects have 6 legs. So just to show you guys that, this right here is a Goliath beetle, and don't worry, this is not from Maine. This big boy is from Africa, and even though he looks kind of big and scary, he feeds on pollen, so not so scary at all. But we can clearly see 6 legs right here. Okay. Most of the critters in this category do not have 6 legs. So for example, we have a spider, which a lot of times the kiddos I teach think that spiders are insects, but spiders have 8 legs. So that automatically disqualifies them. In fact, most of these, they have the wrong number of legs. So 8 legs, 8 legs. I think the tick has 8 legs too. Centipede, too many legs. Millipede, way too many legs. So none of those are insects. The other thing all insects have is they have 3 body segments. So they have a head, a thorax, which is kind of like where our chest shoulder area would be, and then they have an abdomen. And most of the time the legs are attached to the thorax. So for different species of insects, these 3 body segments can look very different. Sometimes they're more round, sometimes they're more elongated. So just for comparison, here's another beetle that, don't worry, is not from here. This is a longhorn harlequin beetle, and we can see that in this example the abdomen is very elongated as opposed to our Goliath beetle, where we have an abdomen that's a little more round. So these 3 body segments might look very different depending on what kind of insect you're looking at, but they're still there. The other thing we can see on this example is insects also have antennae, right? Our longhorn beetle has very long antennae, and insects can use their antenna to collect information about the environment around them, scents, pheromones. Grasshoppers can even use their antenna to detect the moisture in the air and in their food. So lots of different uses. So far we have insects have 6 legs, 3 body segments, they have antenna, and something else that all insects share is they all have an exoskeleton, right? This is from a cicada. Cicadas, along with most other insects, as they grow, their exoskeleton, their outside skin, doesn't grow with them, and they shed it in order to grow bigger. So in the summer, you can find all kinds of these cicada sheds hanging off of trees and other vegetation. So insects don't have bones like us. So our skeleton is on the inside, it's made out of bones. Insects have what's called an exoskeleton, which is basically a hard covering that protects their inside. So their skeleton is on the outside. That's what exo means. That's why if you step on a bug by accident, or like if you squish a roach, you kind of hear that crunching sound. That's the exoskeleton that's crunching. All right, so insects have 3 body segments, 6 legs, 1 exoskeleton, antenna, and then most insects, not all, most insects have wings. So we saw the cicada exoskeleton. Here's a giant cicada. This is not something that's native here. We do have species of cicadas, several species actually. But I wanted to use the cicada as an example because that's not necessarily one we think of when we think of insect wings. We think more of like butterflies or ladybugs. But a lot of insects, or most insects, have wings, even if you don't think about them or you don't see them right away. So for example, most beetles, like the beetles I showed you guys, most beetles have wings. So this is a fiery searcher beetle. These were actually collected locally. These were collected in Fairfield. It's kind of hard to see on the camera. They're this very pretty bright iridescent green, and they have this hard covering. It's basically kind of like a modified forewing, and then when a beetle wants to use its wings, if it wants to fly, those will lift up, and underneath there's an underwing that they can actually utilize. So you can see the split here, where this side would lift up, this side would lift up, and underneath there'd be a pair of wings. So even insects that we don't think of having wings, a lot of them do, which is just something I wanted to point out. So another fun thing is insect eyes work very different from ours. So insects have what's called composite eyes, which means their eyes are kind of broken up into different segments, and they can see the same picture, right, the same viewpoint, or the same thing at a bunch of different viewpoints. So it's kind of like looking at 1,000 different TV screens that are all at a slightly different angle. And this is really helpful for tracking movement. So if you have a predator, like a praying mantis, I have some praying mantis glasses. I'll just take off my own. So a praying mantis would be looking for other insects to hunt, and having this composite view would help it very easily track a movement in one section and attack it and grab its meal. The other really cool thing about insect eyes is that insects can see different wavelengths of light than we do. They can see a different spectrum. So they can actually see colors, more colors than we can. So they can see colors that we don't even know, exist. So, for example, a bee, here are my bee glasses. Bees see flowers differently than us. They see them much brighter. They see their designs much easier, which makes them even more attractive to bees to come and collect the nectar. So that's another really cool thing about insects. All right, so we've talked about some insect characteristics. The rest of the videos, we'll be talking about different adaptations, different types of insects, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes.